Before I continue with the lessons in this video, I do want to point out that I strongly recommend viewing the two-step equation video if you haven't done so already. Because at this point, I am going to expect you to know how to solve problems that look like 3w plus 4 equals negative 12. So if you can solve this problem and other problems similar to this, then you should be able to follow the rest of this video. If you know how to solve a problem like this, then I think you'll have an easy time working through the problems that I'm going to go over in this video. So by the time students take this class, most of them already know that when you have two numbers and one of them's in parentheses, even if there's no multiplication symbol, they know that they're being multiplied. So 2 parentheses 3 would in fact give you a 6. That idea carries over to when we have this going on, where we have a number on the outside or to the left of a parentheses, just like we did here, and a set of numbers inside of the parentheses. The same exact thing happens. So let's go ahead and get started. We have 3 parentheses w plus 6 equals 42. There are two main approaches to solve for w, but the way I'm going to work these out for this particular lesson is through distributive property. In the original example that I wrote out, when we have 2 parentheses 3, that 2 is being multiplied by 3. In our case here, the same exact thing is happening. 3 is being multiplied by everything in the parentheses. So it's not just multiplied by w, but we're actually going to multiply it by 6 as well. So it might seem a little strange to multiply it by w, but let's go ahead and do that. Anytime we have a number times a variable, we end up with the number and that variable. So 3 times w becomes 3w. Now we don't know what w is, but it's just a placeholder. So writing it out this way is perfectly fine. So 3 times w is 3w, and 3 times 6 is 18, and that 18 is a positive 18. So we're not just going to write 18, but we're going to write a plus 18, where that plus represents the positive sign. Just because you see the plus sign up here does not mean that you'll see it at the bottom. But that's why I'm pointing that out. It's just 3 times 6 is positive 18, and that's the reason that I wrote a plus sign down here. So at this point, we're done applying the distributive property. We distributed this 3 into each term inside of the parentheses, or we multiplied it by each term inside the parentheses. So we have 3w plus 18. This is still equal to 42. So now we have a two-step equation that you should be used to working out. So 3w plus 18, we can subtract 18 first from both sides. And that would leave us with 3w equals 42 minus 18. That would be 24. And to finish the problem out, we need to get rid of this 3. 3 is being multiplied by w, so we do the opposite of multiplying by 3. That's dividing by 3, and we do that to both sides. The 3's cancel out on the left, and it leaves us with w equals whatever 24 divided by 3 is. And 24 divided by 3 ends up giving us 8. So our final answer is w equals 8. This problem gives us 2 parentheses 4v minus 6 equals 36. Similar to the previous problem, notice that we have a set of parentheses and a number to the left of the parentheses. That means we're going to go ahead and multiply this number by everything inside of the parentheses. That means we're doing 2 times 4v. And if we go ahead and do that, 2 times 4 gives us 8, and we have a v attached to it. And we have 2 times 6. But I do want to point out that we always look at the sign to the left of the numbers. So we're not going to get 12 out of this. You can treat this as 2 times negative 6. 2 times negative 6 gives me a negative 12. So I'm going to write down a minus 12. So we have 8v minus 12 equals 36. And at this point, it's just like solving any other problem. So we need to get the v by itself. If we look at what's going on to the v, it's being multiplied by 8, but then it's being subtracted by 12. Because the subtraction by 12 is the last thing that happens to it, it's the first thing we're going to undo. So instead of subtracting 12, we're going to add 12. because we add 12 to the left side, we're going to add 12 to the right side as well. On the left side, negative 12 plus 12, they do cancel out. That leaves me with 8v. We still have an equal sign, and we need to add these numbers together. 36 plus 12 ends up giving me 48. So we have 8v equals 48. And now we need to get this v by itself. The v is next to the 8, which means they're being multiplied. So to get rid of the 8, we do the opposite of multiplying by 8. That would be dividing by 8. So we divide the left side by 8 and the right side by 8. On the left-hand side, the 8's cancel out, and it leaves us with v equals whatever 48 divided by 8 is. 48 divided by 8 would be 6, so we have v equals 6. For this problem, we have 2 parentheses 2u plus 7 equals 46. Our goal is to get the u by itself, but if we notice, we have a parentheses and a number off to the left of the parentheses. So we need to take this number to the left of the parentheses and multiply it out to everything inside the parentheses. So we have 2 times 2u. 2 times 2 is 4, and they have a u attached to them, so we get 4u. Then we do 2 times 7. 2 times 7 is positive 14. So we write a plus for positive and 14 afterwards. This is equal to 46. So this is our equation. The only thing left is to get the u by itself. So 4u is being added to 14. That means we got to get rid of this 14, and we do that by subtracting it. So if we subtract 14 from the left-hand side, we subtract the 14 from the right-hand side of the equation as well. 14's cancel out on the left, and it leaves us with 4u. On the right-hand side, we need to do the subtraction. We need to do 46 minus 14. If we do that, we end up getting 32. We're still trying to get the u by itself. So what's going on between the u and the 4? Oh, they're being multiplied, even though there's no multiplication symbol between them. So if u is being multiplied by 4, we get rid of the 4 by dividing by 4. What we do to one side of the equation, we do to the other side. So we divide 32 by 4 as well. On the left-hand side, the 4's cancel out, and it leaves us with a u. On the right-hand side, we have 32 divided by 4, and 32 divided by 4 is 8. So we end up with u equals 8 as our final answer. This problem gives us 9 parentheses y minus 2 equals 27. Because we have this 9 to the left of the parentheses, we need to multiply this 9 by everything inside the parentheses. So 9 times y gives me 9y. 9 times 2, actually 9 times negative 2, gives me a negative 18. So we write a minus 18 after this. This is equal to 27. So we have our equation set up. Now it's just a matter of getting y by itself. So 9y is being subtracted by 18. That means we got to get rid of the 18. Instead of subtracting 18, we need to add 18 to both sides of the equation. That way the 18 cancels out on the left side. So at this point we have 9y is equal to whatever 27 plus 18 is. 27 plus 18 ends up giving us 45. So to get y by itself, y is being multiplied by 9, so we end up dividing both the left side and the right side of the equation by 9. On the left side, the 9's cancel out, and it leaves us with y equals whatever 45 divided by 9 is. 45 divided by 9 is 5, so we end up with y equals 5 as our final answer.